Vanakkam. Welcome to our course on SAP Materials Management. It is important to understand how to configure the system to bring the required processes in the right way into the system. We discussed how to configure the organization structure, material master, business partner from MM point of view the last 3 sessions. We will discuss the configuration of key purchasing documents in this session. Before going to the session, let us see the answers for the quiz we discussed in the last session. What is the purpose of vendor account groups? Vendor account groups are used for focused reporting and specific pricing schemas. For each vendor account group, field status has to be maintained in 3 areas, which are they: general data, company code data, and purchasing data. Can there be any overlap in the number ranges? No, there should not be any overlap in the number ranges in Material Master or any other number range defined for any document types also. A number range can be assigned to one account group only, true or false. False. A number range can be assigned to many account groups. What is the purpose of vendor subrange VSR functionality? The vendor subrange functionality is used to subdivide a vendor's product into different ranges. After configuring the organization structure, materials management and business partners, next step is to configure purchasing documents like purchase orders, purchase requisitions, requests for quotations, contracts, and scheduling agreements. The configuration steps are almost same for all these documents. In this session, we will be talking about configuring the purchase requisition document types. Various steps involved in MM configuration are shown here. In this session, we will be discussing on configuration of the purchasing documents like a number range, document type, account assignment, and then purchase order progress tracking and supplier confirmation. We start the discussion with the configuration of purchase requisitions. A purchase requisition is the first step in the demand for material. Either it is entered by the requisitioner or generated out of requirements from MRP. A requisition contains the material or services to be procured, required date of delivery, quantity, etc. Purchase requisition does not contain a vendor and is generally not printed out because it is internally created document. Every purchasing document type must have a number range, which can be internal, external, or both. To define the number range, follow the menu path shown here. Please note the number range intervals cannot overlap each other, and number ranges are year independent in MM. Please take note, number ranges are year independent in materials management. And then click on the change intervals button. Here we see list of existing number ranges. If we want to add a new number range, we can do it by clicking the insert button. Then we have to enter the number range key in the number column, that is a number range number column, and then make the entries from number and to number fields. To make the number range external, select the external number range checkbox. To make the number range internal, leave the checkbox unselected. After entering the required details, we have to save the details. So number ranges, again, they should not overlap each other, and number ranges are year independent in metal management. Please take note of it. To configure a document type for purchase requisitions, follow the navigation path shown here. This is to document the document type for this is to configure the document type for purchase requisition. Different purchase requisitions have been already configured or displayed here. A standard purchase requisition type is NB. The configuration allows internal and external number ranges that is to be defined for each transaction. To create a new purchase requisition document type, select the standard purchase requisition document type NB and then choose copy as. For our discussion purpose, we maintain the new purchase document type YNB and required number ranges are maintained. Also maintain a short description. Now here it is just showing purchase requisition, but you can write whatever you need. When you press the enter, then this specific object to copied, this pop-up will appear. In this window, we need to choose whether we want to copy all dependent entries of the reference document type NB into the new configured order type, the purchase requisition type YNB. Now we will select copy all. Now we get the screen shown here. It shows the number of dependent entries in purchase requisition document type NB that have been copied to our newly configured purchase requisition document type YNB. Here there are 144 entries are copied into the new documentation type. Next is to select the line item YNB and then double click on the allowed item categories. This is to allow which are all the item categories can be procured using this purchase requisition document type. The list of item categories that were copied directly from the purchase requisition document type NB are shown here because we copied now. So those item categories are copied here. On the screen, either we can eliminate or add the item categories that are allowed for the purchase requisition document type which is newly created. By choosing a new number profiles, we can make purchase requisition of document type YNB required or optional to a serial number for equipment when creating purchase requisition. With this configuration, PR document type is completed. Other document types are also created in similar way like scheduling agreement, purchase orders, contracts, etc. During the course of SAP implementation project, the MM consultant and the client should discuss all the purchasing document numbers and associated number ranges which has to be configured and then to be inserted here properly. An account assignment category field determines what type of accounting assignment data is required for purchase requisitions. Some examples of account assignments are cost center, cost objects, or general ledger, assets like that. The account assignment categories can be configured through the menu path shown here. A purchasing user can create a new account assignment group and configure the fields. For example, some companies may not want certain fields to appear or changeable during the configure assignments. So here that what are the fields like asset, business area, cost object, some mandatory field, optional fields, or display, hidden, all these things can be selected or hidden. Accounting department is primarily involved in creating the new account assignment categories. So it is a responsibility of the accounting department. So here the required account assignment data is needed for specific assignment like asset, and then production order, cost center, sales order, project, or some other like unknown U like that. Also the next four fields that has to be entered on the line item of the purchase requisition, like they are shown here for the asset and cost centers are example. Please note that here we are seeing only the first page of the fields we are seeing here. By clicking the button going down or going up, and we can see the other settings and set them. Using the business function log underscore mm underscore ca underscore 3, we can capture the reasons for blocking because sometimes we need to block some items in the purchase orders. So those things we can enter the reasons. But now if you go into the standard, we will not see the reason for blocking. Only blocking will be there. If you want to trigger that reasons, we have to use this function. We have to go and activate this function using the transaction SFW5. And also when you do this, there will be a new configuration path that will appear as shown here. From there, you can go and describe the blocking descriptions. These blocking descriptions, when they are defined, they will be appearing in the purchase order history tab of the line item details in the purchase order. But for this, you have to do the functions which are defined here. Since it is not available in the system, what is available with me, I am not putting here those things. But you please explore these things. Next, we'll discuss account assignment in a purchase order. A line item and purchase order should be assigned to an account so that it can be charged when the invoice for the purchase order is posted. We can also assign a single account code or a number of account codes to the purchase order. Assigning the account information describes how a purchase metal is being used, like to fulfill sales order or consumption by cost center, etc. Number of account center categories are used in the purchase order. So while you creating the purchase order, the purchasing user, they have to enter the account assignment. So if account assignment category K is selected, it will depend on the specific configuration. General ledger also will be posted. So different account categories are configured in the system. To configure the account categories, the menu path is shown here. After creating the account assignment, they must be made to an item category in the configuration. So that menu path is shown here. A purchasing user can decide which item category is relevant for the new account assignment. And then let us talk about progress tracking of purchase orders, because once we define the project purchase orders, we need to track what is the status of the purchase order. So we have to do the progress tracking. So here this function helps to track all the purchasing activities related to purchase orders. The progress tracking serves the business need to monitor the progress or status of purchase orders. For example, if there is import business, means whether it is the letter of credit is opened, whether the shipment is loaded, whether it is where it is unloaded, those kind of things we can create and activate them so that we can see the status of the purchase orders on regular basis. For these things, there are some elements involved here, like event. Event is a unique activity in the continuous process, like create the purchase order, sending the purchase order to vendor, receiving the acknowledgement. All these things created as event. And then event scenario is collection of the sequence of these events that can be created as a event scenario. And then progress tracking profiles. Here there are two steps involved here. One is the progress tracking, another is the progress evaluation. The progress tracking, we maintain the basic details of purchase order, like the baseline date and actual date of events, so that system can calculate the variance between the baseline date and actual date. What is the baseline date? You have to compare, then only we'll understand whether it's deviating or not. And then progress evaluation. Here it is a report that will provide a holistic view of the statuses, so that it will be shown, we will be able to see them, right? That is what we will see them, right? This is available as a project progress tracking. Please try these steps. And what are the steps involved? We will discuss here. The menu path to configure the purchase order progress is shown here. So there are many steps involved here. We will discuss them one by one. Right? See there, see the steps here on the right side. Define the standard events, event scenarios, maintain relationship. All these things are there. We'll discuss them one by one. First is to define the events. Here we are defining the all possible events, like purchase order creation or confirmation, delivery created, inspection done, export documents created, packaging done, transportation done. All these things we can put here. And also here that each event is assigned to a particular rank also, like which is done first, which is done second, like that we can put the ranking also here. And then we have to create the event scenarios. In this step, we define the event scenarios for the purchase order. For example, we are creating a scenario. These scenarios related to a purchase order follow-up. Right? This is a high-level definition of the progress tracking. Then we have to maintain the relationship between the events and the scenarios. In this step, we have to assign the event scenario to all possible events, because we created events, then we created the event scenario. Those things you want to link. This means you have to group all the possible events into the event scenarios. Also here we have to define the relationship of the predecessor and the successor relationship, so that we will be getting the any offset and other days, no, because system has to properly align. It is like a project tracking, no, program tracking also it has to be there. And then we have to assign the default scenario to metal group. That also we can do it in the metal group also. We can assign this so that the default scenario will be assigned. We can assign manually also through the metal master, but for that there should be an enhancement. And then we have to maintain the priority for an event. Here we will maintain the sequence of priorities or in the order in which system will display the progress tracking in the purchase orders. So like this we can do the progress tracking. The next step involved we will explain now. And then we have to define the project the progress tracking profile. Here we have to progress, all the events we have to do it. So profile is mandatory, to follow the progress tracking. First you have to define the status type. Status type means here we'll define the status info types which are used to analyze whether the particular purchase document is complete or not. For that, see here the settings are not there, but you can do them. And then maintaining the number range status information. So SAP delivers specific number range for this kind of activities. And after all these things, we have to get the standard baddie which are available to populate all the relevant fields like value, status, and priorities. For these things, we have to do in the configuration like metal management, purchasing order progress tracking, and there is a baddie is there. Then you have to select the baddie and do it. I don't have that baddie in my system, so I did not do it, but you can do them by doing some research from your side. With this configuration settings in place, we can do the progress tracking of purchase orders. But this will be very useful step. Okay, please explore these things further. There are some technical steps involved which will be very much helpful to your organization. Next, we'll discuss about supplier confirmation. Here, the supplier confirmation categories are configured into the SAP system either as internal confirmation or internal confirmation. External confirmation categories are configured for the purpose of entering manually. Internal configurations are there for the system monitoring on the electronic data interface. So external categories are defined. Okay, that one I explained. There are 4 external categories example shown here like order acknowledgement, PO change, rough GR, those kind of things. Next is the internal configuration change. The menu path is shown here. There are 3 kind of internal confirmation categories are there. The category 1 is the order acknowledgement. Category 2 is the ASN, advanced shipping notification or shipping notifications or inbound deliveries. And then 3 is the used for goods receipt. Like this we can create them. And if you want to create further things, those things also we can create. So as I told, external configuration category is assigned to for extra manual entries. Internal things are for some system link or the EDI, those kind of automatic links it has to be applied. And please note the internal external confirmation categories are assigned to each internal confirmation categories. Because of this, purchasing documents can be automatically updated with the data coming from the relevant information, whereas internal categories are for supplier confirmation using EDI. So like this we can make a link and the system will update them automatically. And then we can also control the sequence in which the system allows various types of confirmation to take place to meet the business needs. That is done through the configuration shown here. Now here we see the detailed screen of the confirmation control 004 and a confirmation category LA. On the screen we can control whether recording of inbound delivery in the SAP system is considered during the MRP run or whether it has to be part of the GR relevant. All these things we can do it. With this we completed configuration of the details for supplier confirmation. So in this session, we talked about how to define the purchasing documents like purchase requisition, how to define the number range for them. And then we also discussed account assignment categories. And then we discussed the purchase order progress tracking and then supplier confirmations. Now we discuss the quiz for this session. Number ranges in MM are year independent, true or false? How internal and external confirmations are used? What are some examples of account assignment categories? So these are the quiz questions. We'll discuss the answers in the next session. So we discuss the configuration related to purchasing documents. Next session we'll discuss message determination and the price determination. Meanwhile, please go through the configuration settings explained and explore the description using the help of options. Please give your feedback to improve the flow and contents. Also suggest your friends and colleagues to subscribe to our channel so they also get the benefit of these knowledge sharing sessions. Thank you. See you in the next session. Take care. Bye.